A very good morning to Dr. Mushida and my friends. This is my orthodontic case presentation today. This presentation is divided into part A and part B. So we will start off with part A first. This is a 15-year-old Chinese female with the initial of LYY. She came with a complaint of spacing upper front teeth. She is medically fit and healthy, but she's having allergy towards NSAIDs. Extraorally, she presented with a class 2 skeletal pattern with a convex profile. For vertical assessment, she has a slightly increased Frankfurt mandibular plane angle where both lines intersect in front of the occiput. She also has a normal lower anterior face height. Transversely, her face is grossly symmetrical with incompetent lips. Intraoral examination found that she has fair oral hygiene, slightly reddish gingival margin, and generalized chalky white tooth appearance. She is presented with multiple retained deciduous tooth. They are retained deciduous canine 5'3", 6'3", 8'3", and also retained deciduous first molar 6'4". Thus, the teeth that were unerupted are all the 8s and permanent 1'3", 2'3", 2'4", and 4'3". For her upper arch, it is a U-shaped arch presented with moderate spacing on the labial segment, and tooth 1-1 is distolabially rotated. For the buccal segment, there is a mild spacing on the left and mild crowding on the right side. Tooth 1-5 and 2-5 are palatally displaced. For the lower arch, it is a U-shaped arch presented with mild crowding on the labial segment and distolingually rotated 2-3 and 4-2. For the buccal segment, 3-4 is buccally displaced while 3-5 is mesiolingually rotated. This patient presented with a class 2 division 1 incisor relationship, an increased complete overbite of 50%, and it is traumatic to the palate. Her overjet is increased with about 8 mm. Lower midline shift is 0.5 to the left. For her canine relationship, she is presented with a class 1 on the right side, but a class 2 quarter unit on the left side. She has a class 3 quarter unit molar relationship on the right and a class 1 molar relationship on the left. In this case, the IOTN given is 5i. There is presence of impeded eruption due to the retained deciduous, which obstruct the eruption of the permanent successor tooth. Radiographic investigation was done with OPG and CBCT. This is an OPG showing all tooth present and the erupting aids. As you can see, there are a few retained deciduous. Those in yellow are the retained ones and those in the green are the impacted tooth. The retained deciduous includes 5'3", 6'3", 6'4", and 8'3", while the impacted permanent includes 1'3", 2'3", 2'4", and 4'3". The impacted canines are angulated towards the midline. Next is the CBCT imaging. As you can see, the impacted canines are located labially to the central incisors. So why do we take a CBCT? So by taking this CBCT, we can determine the type of impaction according to its classification. We also want to locate the impacted canine position and to investigate the status of impacted canine, whether there is presence of abnormalities, be it pathological or any root resorption. Thus, we can identify the type of approach needed to expose the impacted canines. Moving on, for lateral ceph, I had used an online software to analyze this. So this is the tracing after analysis. For the result, her SNA is 85, which is higher than normal range. This indicates that patient has a prognathic maxilla. S and B is 81 degree, which is in the normal range. A and B is obtained by deducting S and A and S and B. In this case, the A and B is 4 degree, which is also in the normal range. MMPA or maxillary mandibular plane angle is 32 degree, which is slightly higher than the normal range. This correlates with her FMPA. SNMXP for this patient is 9 degree, which is within the normal range. Upper incisor maxillary plane angle is 134 degree, which is greater than the normal range. This indicates that patient has a very proclined upper incisor. While the lower incisor mandibular plane angle is 87 degree, which falls in the normal range. Her interincisor angle is 104 degree, which is lower than the normal limit. This is mainly caused by the change of proclined upper incisors and the normal inclination of the lower incisors. Lastly, her lower anterior face height ratio is 55%, which is in the normal range. So since her SNMXP is 9 degree, which falls in the normal range, it means that we have to perform A and B correction. So for every 1 degree increase of the normal S and A, we have to subtract 0.5 from the A and B. In this case, her S and A is 85, which is 4 degree more than the normal. Thus, 2 degree have to be subtracted from the initial A and B. So in the end, we will get the corrected A and B, which is 2, indicating a class 1 skeletal pattern. However, if the MMPA is not normal, may it be greater or less than 27 degree, the normal lower incisor mandibular plane angle is calculated as 120 degree minus the MMPA. So the normal lower incisor mandibular plane angle we get in this case will be 88 compared to the initial 86 degree. Therefore, the ideal lower inclination should be 88 degree. This means that 2 degree of correction can still be done on the lower incisor to achieve an ideal inclination. So, for the summary, this patient is a 15-year-old Chinese female, came with a complaint of spacing of upper front teeth. She presented with a class 2 division 1 malocclusion on a class 2 skeletal pattern. She has a convex profile with slightly increased FMPA and a normal LA, lower anterior face height. There is a moderate spacing on the upper labial segment and mild spacing on the buccal segment. For the lower arch, she has mild crowding on the labial segment and also on the left buccal segment. She has an increased overjet of 8 mm and increased overbite of 50%, complete and traumatic to the palate. Her lower midline is shifted to the left of about 0.5 mm. The canine relationship on the right is class 1 while the left is class 2 quarter unit. Molar relationship on the right is class 3 quarter unit while the left is class 1. So for her etiology, there is 3: skeletal, soft tissue and dental alveolar discrepancy. For the soft tissue, this is mainly because of her lower lip trap, as you can see in her picture given. For her problem list, she has a class 2 skeletal pattern, increased Frankfurt mandibular plane angle, spacing of the upper arch, crowding of the lower arch, class 2 division 1 incisor relationship, increased overjet, increased overbite, lower midline shifted to the left, canine relationship of the left is class 2 quarter unit, molar relationship on the right is class 3 quarter unit. So the aim of treatment is for her to accept the skeletal pattern, to close up the spacing of the upper arch, to relieve the crowding of the lower arch, to correct the overjet, and to correct the overbite to the normal range, and also to correct the midline shift, to correct the left canine relationship to class 1, and to correct the right molar relationship to class 1. So this is her treatment plan. It's divided into general and orthodontic purposes. General, oral hygiene instruction and education, scaling and prophylaxis, extraction of the retained deciduous, 5'3", 6'3", 6'4", 8'3". So for orthodontic purposes, fixed appliance can be constructed for her. So the next part is part B. So the case given is a 16-year-old Malay lady complained of gaps between her upper front teeth. Her overjet is 6mm and the overbite is 40% incomplete. So the task given is to design an appliance to close the spacing. So this is the URA that I designed. So as you can see, I have put in finger spring, Adam clamps, the base plate, labial bowl, and also the anterior bite plane. So finger spring in this case is it acts as an active component. So it aims to close up the anterior spacing, the diastema, the midline diastema. While for the labial bowl, it is also an active component extended from 1-3 to 2-3. So this is used to reduce the overjet and basically to close up the anterior space. Then for the anterior bite plane, it is used to reduce the occlusal interference to allow tooth movement, or for the posterior to allow the eruption of the posterior tooth. The Adam clasp is a retentive component in this case, and you got the base plate. Okay, that's all. Thank you.